kid, we're going back in time.
How far back? Yeah, because we don't want to miss dinner.
We're going way back. Further back. Further. A little more. Stop! Back to 1945.
We're going to need to pack sandwiches and ice cream. You can't pack ice cream, Pink Bear. You can do anything you want, Red Bear.
Speaking of yummy foods, that was a problem in 1945. A huge war called World War II had just ended, and it had left so many people without enough food to eat. So that led to an idea called the Friendship Train, and this is an absolutely true story of helping and healing after World War II. And yes, kids just like you became part of this incredible true story. Here we go! On one side of the ocean, children's bellies growled. Look at all those unhappy faces. A war had ended, and the fighting had destroyed farms. Winter was coming to Europe, and there was no time to grow food before the cold set in. There was peace, but not enough food to eat. On the other side of the ocean, in Washington, D.C., a man named Drew Pearson wondered, how could I help? He could buy food for some hungry children, sure, but so many were hungry. The need was too big for one person to fill. You know the feeling when a problem you wish you could solve just seems too big. So Mr. Pearson thought a little bigger. What if other Americans joined him to send flour and sugar, milk and macaroni, beans and peas to hungry families? If a special train, a Friendship Train, ran from California on the West Coast to New York on the East Coast, would people fill it with boxes and sacks and cans of food? Would Americans care for strangers as they would care for friends? Oh, storyteller. Hey, Doug the Dinosaur. Were we in World War II? Yes, and we won the war. Were kids hungry here too? Actually, good question. The fighting never reached America, so our farms could still grow food. Oh, so that means we could share. Oh, I hope they do. You know what they say, sharing is caring. So, would Americans care for strangers and share as they would care and share with friends? Mr. Pearson was a writer for newspapers. Look, all the newspapers. And his articles appeared in hundreds of newspapers. So he took his ideas straight to his readers, who were starting to look pretty excited about what he's saying. And answers came in the mail. Whoa, did they come? Lots of answers. Piles of answers. Boxes and boxes and boxes of answers with letters like, "It would be a pleasure and our honor for us to print the labels and stickers for the donations. We're here for many bags of rice. I have no corn, wheat, or potatoes, but I'll send you a check. We mothers along the route will turn out and assist in any way possible." And the phones were ringing, and the kids were peeking in the window, coming up with something. Children wanted to get on board the Friendship Train, too. How can we help? They asked themselves, and they came up with answers. Lots of answers. Boxcars, in fact, full of answers. Students collected cans of milk at school. Children donated their ice cream nickels. They chipped in quarters to buy a carload of sugar. Teens loaded food packages onto trucks for delivery to the railway station. On Halloween, instead of asking for candy treats, they asked for treats of nuts and dried fruits and flour and macaroni for the hungry people across the sea. And all this was in California alone. Mr. Pearson had worried that there wouldn't be enough donations to fill one single boxcar when the train started out in Los Angeles, and he didn't have to worry one bit. That train left LA not with one boxcar of food, but 12. Oh, they're doing it. They are helping. Yay. That makes me so happy.
I'm happy too, except I'd be happier they had put ice cream on there.
But you know they put sugar.
Yeah.
And cans of milk.
Yeah, I saw that.
And even dried fruit.
Yeah, I saw.
But did you know that you can make ice cream with all that?
No way!
Yes, way.
Now I'm even happier!
Yay!
Yay!
And the trip across the country has just begun. All aboard Children across the country were busy making sure that number, those boxcars, got bigger and bigger. They sold tickets to wrestling matches. How creative is that? They collected waste paper and sold it. They ran errands for money. They saved their allowance and they donated their lunch money. They are being so creative. All to buy food for, all aboard, the friendship train. Many families had to scrimp at their own dinner tables, and yet they gave what they could. There were some people who didn't agree with the idea of sending food overseas at all, and so they didn't. No one had to participate. This was a volunteer mission. That didn't stop the friendship train from growing and growing, and children kept figuring out ways to make it grow even more. From small towns to big cities, kids knocked on doors to collect food from neighbors. They went to showings of movies where the price of a ticket was a can of milk that would get donated to the friendship train. They picked corn that harvesting machines had left behind in the fields. They wrote a neighborhood newspaper and sold it for 2 cents a copy. Hear ye, read all about the news that we kids wrote up. They showed up in banks to collect money from customers. They set out boxes on Main Street for contributions, all to fill train cars for strangers across the ocean. Whoa, kid, whoa, don't drop it, whoa. By the time the friendship train reached Chicago, it had so many boxcars that it had to be split into 2 trains. 80 cars rolled into the city, and 100 cars rolled out, brimming with food. And not just any kind of food, the kind that would preserve across the ocean, like flour and sugar, milk and macaroni, dried beans and peas, good food for growling bellies that would keep during the long journey. As the train's 2 parts rolled east, whoop, wind snapped, snow fell, and rain drove down like icy needles. Winter has come, but nothing could keep the people away. Gifts of food kept pouring in, nuts and raisins, honey and oats, wheat and corn, cans and cans and cans of milk, and fine fare to keep people healthy, and the train kept growing as it pulled into Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
This story makes me super proud and also super hungry.
A lot of stories do that for Green Bear. 11 days after the friendship train tooted out of Los Angeles with 12 boxcars, its 2 sections chugged into New York City. More than 200 cars long. Look at it floating into the harbor. Now it was time to celebration time. Come on. In New York Harbor, boats and barges put on a parade. Some of the boxcars were floated past. Check her out, the Statue of Liberty, Lady Liberty, which had been itself a gift of friendship from France to the U.S. 60 years earlier. Speaking of France, I know this is the American flag, but right here, the French flag, this one, the Italian flag, these flags are here because that is where these friendship cars are going. In the end, the people of the United States collected more than 500 boxcars of food, which is a very, 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 very long train of goodness. From one parade in the harbor to another parade on land, now people filled New York City's famed Broadway to continue the celebration. And children weren't done, not you. At a big ceremony, kids made speeches in front of famous dignitaries. They spoke in French, they spoke in Italian, in honor of the 2 nations that would receive most of the friendship train's bounty. And check out what they're wearing. They were wearing traditional costumes from those countries, and they brought what? Even more food. Volunteers and workers organized all the donations into parcels for the long voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. On December 7th, 1947, a giant ship steamed out of New York. Below decks, it was stuffed with food from the friendship train. But one giant ship wasn't enough to haul it all. 2 ships weren't enough to haul it all. 3 ships weren't enough to haul it all. It took 4 ships to carry the precious cargo. And They all met with celebration on the other side of their journey. In war-torn harbors like this one in France, they were a welcome sight. Look at the crowds, the cheering, the hands held up in celebration. They're holding up not only their flags, but the American flags as a sign of thank you to their neighbors across the ocean. Finally, the harsh winter passed. Week by week, month by month, the people of Europe were rebuilding their lives because remember, I told you World War II was humongous. They remembered the Americans' generosity. In France, a railway worker named André Picard wondered, how could that show my gratitude? Monsieur Picard had, ding, an idea. And you've already seen what an idea can do. He could fill a railroad car with gifts to send to the Americans. So he talked about his idea with others. One boxcar? The gratitude was too great to fit into just one car. So Monsieur Picard thought, a little bigger.
Are they about to send us a friendship train? Keep reading, keep reading!
I have a feeling this act of kindness is going to beget another act of kindness. If he gathered an entire train of many boxcars, would the people of France fill it with presents to say merci, a big thank you to the strangers across the ocean? Oui, Monsieur Picard. Yes, they would. As a proud French giraffe. Yes, you're the giraffe. I just want to say, this gift from long ago still fills my heart with love and gratitude. Ooh la la. Les enfants, the children, wanted to get on board the Merci train too. What gifts can we give? They asked themselves, and already I can see they're thinking. A giant mirror? A bicycle? Books? What could they give? They found answers. Lots of answers. Boxcars of answers. And a letter. I love Lulu very much, but I offer it to you in gratitude. Without knowing you, I love you, and I embrace you with all my heart. Helene Petite, Lyon, France. How beautiful is that?
Wow, she gave her favorite stuffy, and that kid's giving his truck, and that girl's giving her dolly.
And just like that, kids were making a world of difference and stirring up a lot of love. I'm not crying, you are crying. It's okay to cry, it's very moving. And what she wrote, Helene from Lyon, France, about loving you without knowing you, that's also how I feel about you. In early 1949, a ship crossed the Atlantic Ocean from France to the United States, and it carried 49 boxcars filled with thousands and thousands of gifts. Every single state in the Union received a boxcar of treasures from the Merci train. Merci, America. Thank you, America. From stranger to stranger? From friend to friend. I am feeling very sentimental.
Yeah, me too. Me three. I'm sentimental and hungry.
It's good to see goodness in action. And good to know, kid, that with a little teamwork, you can create goodness in the world.